Yeah, hello everyone. Let me hope that you are very fine. So today we are going to go through another bunch of section A items that are somehow different, or what I can say that are from different topics compared to the ones that we had in the first video. If you had any questions concerning section A items on how to answer, you can go on and post your question on the respective video. So today I shall not start with categorizing the item into the different group. We had a video that was concerning that, and what you had to know is what is assessed. After all, for section A items, I remember telling you that you don't need that as much, so you can even attempt them minus categorizing an item into its respective group, since for them they are structured, and then the different parts under the task of the item always tell you they always request for a particular thing, and then all of those parts shall be complying with the basis of assessment. So there is not much need for you to cram that now this one is from this group. No, don't stress yourself, most especially for section A items. So let's go straight to this item and we see. So item 1, let me read through. The government of Uganda wants to construct a new strong dam in Ntinda Falls along River Nile in order to increase on hydroelectric production in Jinja district. It has hired a Chinese dam construction company to execute the duty using different building materials on market that have minimal impact on the environment. The chief engineer of the company has proposed he would select suitable materials to be used based on their qualities. The chief engineer has decided to seek advice from a person with good knowledge of chemistry, and that person is you. So the task part is help him identify the categories of materials to be used best with reason. Part B, advise him on the suitability of the materials to be used. And lastly, part C, help him know the impacts of using the materials to the environment and their measures, the mitigation measures. So I told you always, before starting to attempt an item, first read the whole of it, including all its parts under the task. So this one shall help you to get a clear picture on what is being assessed, and then you can come back for the second time and then reread and identify what we call the key terms in the question. So when we look at this, they are saying the government of Uganda wants to construct a new strong dam. That is that. So when you look at a new strong dam in Ntinda Falls, so the new strong dam, so this is a key word that you have to take note of. In order to increase on hydroelectric production in Jinja, it has hired a Chinese construction company to execute the duty using different building materials, meaning they are looking for building materials. So we have a new strong dam, building materials. With that, you already have a clear picture that you need building materials that can be used to construct a strong dam. On top of that, those building materials should have minimal impact on the environment. They should not be affecting the environment so much. So when you look at that, those are our key terms that we are having in the item. Therefore, also when you read, you always identify the key terms in there. They shall always give you a clear image. Let's go to attempting these items. Part A was saying help him identify the categories of the materials to be used best with reason. So when we start, when you go back to your senior 1 work concerning materials, we will see that The categories of materials, they are very many, but the broad categories, they are two. We have natural materials, and then we also have artificial materials. So as you can see, natural materials are materials that exist on their own. In other words, when we talk of something that is natural, it should be like when you go to a mango tree and then you get off that mango and you take it directly and you start eating. So that is natural. But then if you get the mango and then extract it, the mango is got and you extract juice from it, then you mix it with other things, the juice you have, we shall not call it natural even though it is from the mango that is natural. It's because you're the one who has made that juice, but using a natural material. Therefore, what picture am I trying to portray in here? It is that natural materials always they are used as they are obtained from the environment. You get the mango, you eat. But if you take it for further processing, then the product out of that mango, it won't be a natural material. It will be artificial even though you have used the natural material to produce it. Now here I have natural materials that exist on their own, like stones. So the stones that they use to construct these bridges, they are obtained from the rocks, broken down and used directly as they have been got without changing anything on them. Then when we have the sands, the same thing. We have the timber, that is still wood as it was on the tree, even though it has been shaped, but still it is having the same it is in the same nature as the other tree. So and many others, but we look for those that are used to construct the stronger dams. Stones are needed, sand is needed, timber is needed. They are used as supports as they are compiling the concrete to form the different shapes. Timber is used, therefore we can put it under here. Or another person might have talked of the artificial materials. Artificial materials are the ones that are made by man. Like the example I gave, you get the mango that is natural, then out of the mango, if you take it to the industries for processing, you get certain juice. That juice is artificial because they used the natural mango, then they produced a product. That product isn't made by it, doesn't exist on its own, therefore we call it artificial. So artificial materials that are used, we have steel, we have aluminium, we have concrete. So steel is an alloy. There is nowhere in the environment that we can get steel. Just it is an alloy of iron and carbon, and that is made by man. Man gets iron, and actually also iron is not a natural material because it doesn't exist as iron on the environment. It is got from its ore, iron oxide plus some others. Therefore iron is also made by man because it is processed or it is obtained through industrial processes. So omuntu amala kubaako kyakyusa nti ojjayo luli olwazi, then nojja n'oluprocessing, you get the iron. Therefore iron is made by man and doesn't exist on earth on its own. Similarly with aluminium, aluminium also doesn't exist as aluminium metal that we normally see in the laboratory. It is just extracted somewhere from its ore. The ore, we call it bauxite. So bauxite is the natural material or the natural ore, but then as it is taken to the industry, it is processed and then aluminium is got. So that one, since it is obtained from the industry, we can refer to it as an artificial material. Next we have concrete. Concrete, this is a composite material. It consists of aggregate, that is sand, and then the stones. It consists of cement. Cement is an artificial material, sand is a natural material, the stones, they are natural materials, and therefore concrete is used. But basically, when we come to construction of bridges, modern bridges are typically artificial materials are used due to their reputation of being durable, due to because they can be used to construct permanent structures. Now when we come to part B, it is saying advise him on the suitability of the materials, and we said when they talk about the suitability, they are asking for the properties, the qualities that make a material to be used for a certain purpose. So those are the ones we refer to as the properties. So here I've separated them, since also on the part of the category I gave two alternatives of the answer, whereby you give only one, either natural materials or artificial materials. Meaning, if you talked about natural materials, then when you're giving properties, they should be specific for the natural materials, and also using the maybe the giving properties of some of the examples that you might have given. But on natural materials, there it is better. If another person had given the other category of artificial, then that person on the part of the properties should be better that you give the properties of those artificial materials. So now let's see. We had stones. They are saying they have a high compressive strength, and so they are capable of bearing heavy loads without cracking. So we all know that stones are very strong, the rocks themselves. Still, they are durable and they can last long. So you know the bridges, I can give an example of the common buildings that you see, these skyscrapers, the flat houses. They used the stones maybe to make their structures, and some of them have existed for many years. Now another material that you talked about is timber. So it is flexible and it has a light weight. So that's why sometimes you see those bridges have different designs. It is because of the flexibility of the timber that they use. It can be folded to make the different designs that you see. Top of that, it is lightweight, so it doesn't add on extra weight that might cause collapse of the bridges or any other structures that are being constructed. Next, we have sand. Sand is commonly used even in all construction activities. We are saying it has a high temperature. It can withstand high temperatures without degrading. So esogumira. That's why enju ezizimbiddwa mu musenyu, omuliro ne bwe gwaka, the other structures might burn out, but the walls made out of sand will stay there. They won't collapse. It is because of that. And in other cases too, they will not weaken as that easily. It is due to sand being resistant to high temperatures. Next, we say sand readily mixes with cement and water and mortar, which are essential in the bridge construction. So because of that, that's why maybe it is commonly used even in other construction activities. If you get other types of soils and you try to mix them, you will see that sand readily mixes up with those two, cement and water. That's why it is a better choice in here. Now we come to artificial materials. For that person who had given the category of artificial materials, we gave some examples, and so still I can talk about their properties. So steel has a high tensile strength and compressive strength, allowing it to support heavy loads. You know, steel contains iron in it, and then you know all the properties of those metals. Therefore steel can withstand heavy loads. That's why it is commonly used, because of that property. Steel can deform significantly without fracturing, which allows it to redistribute stresses, preventing sudden failures. Steel, that is the property of being malleable. Yes, being malleable and also ductile. We already know that. steel is able to bend and stretch, which is important in creating various shapes and designs. That is the malleability. The first one was ductility. The ability to deform significantly without fracturing and allowing it to redistribute stresses. So that is ductility. The second one, able to bend and stretch, which is important in creating various shapes and designs. That is the malleability part. Then we had also another material, concrete. We are saying it is having high compressive strength, making it strong under both compression and tension. So that one is clear that when you apply forces, concrete can somehow withstand them, unlike other materials, and most especially reinforced concrete, where they have added steel bars. See, the steel themselves have high tensile strength. Similarly, so when you mix them together, then you increase on the strength of the building. Next, we are saying concrete is resistant to weathering, chemical attacks, and fire, making it suitable for bridges. So that mixture, the concrete, it cannot be affected by chemicals, it cannot be affected by fire. Another fit is a good choice. Next, concrete can be molded into different shapes and designs of various sizes, which is useful in creating bridges. Remember, before the concrete dries, it is in that liquid form. Therefore, having created the different designs using the timber, they can put it anywhere. And also the steel bars themselves being malleable, they can also be folded to form those different structures. So next, the metal, we have aluminium. We are saying it has a low density, so since it is light, and on bridges we need light substances that cannot accumulate, that cannot cause accumulation of weight, which might cause collapse of the bridge. Therefore, aluminium materials may be used on the bridges due to their low density. Next, aluminium is also resistant to corrosion. For steel and maybe some other iron materials, for them they have that disadvantage of being affected by weather easily. But for aluminium, it doesn't. It forms a thin oxide layer. Therefore, it can be a good choice, most especially on maybe these bars that are put along the bridge. So they can be made of aluminium. Some might be from stainless steel because it is also corrosion resistant. Also, aluminium has a high tensile strength and thus can support heavy loads like any other metal. Let's go to part C. They are saying help him know the impacts of using the materials to the environment and their mitigation measures. So here we want to look at the side effects. What can happen when what bad things can arise as a result of using these materials? There are very many, but I've listed a few for you, but you can add on others for your own. We are saying timber, I had it there as an example. It is got through cutting trees, and we know the importance of trees, that they use carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, of which carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Therefore, if they are cut, just know the concentration of carbon dioxide shall have to increase, and then we shall have increase in temperatures. So in the same paragraph, I've given the solution. So there are two ways of giving this. You can start with giving the side effects, then next you follow them with their mitigations, or you can give the side effect and in the same line you add the mitigations. So you're saying it can be solved through planting more trees. So you call afforestation, reforestation, all of those are same answer. So it is all planting trees. Next, deposition of concrete into water body during the construction processes can lead to water contamination. We know as they are constructing, they are in the scenario they said the bridge shall be passing through river Nile, and therefore during the process you never know there are some concrete and even other waste materials that can be dumped into the water bodies, and they reduce the quality of water, what we call here water contamination. So that water cannot be used by human beings because of that, and then on top of that, still that water holds some animals that live within, they shall be affected. So we are saying this can be solved through carrying out regular checkups on the water to ensure its quality is always maintained. So balina okubanga amazzi ago bagakebera as they are carrying out their process, balabe gali mu kikula ki, what is its nature, is it affecting the aquatic life or it is not. If it is affecting, then they find solutions other than just carrying out the activity minus checking that water. So kiba kijja kukosa mu maaso n'ebisolo ebiri mu mazzi biba bikosebwa. Next, cut-offs from used metals when deposited on land and water can lead to spoilage of land and water quality. Yes, bwe baba basalaasala obubaawo, ebyuma, they also use some plastics, the PVC, you know, as they are making those structures, like nga omulaba bazimba kalina nti abayiwa slab basaayo bakubawo emiti to create the structure, the design, then baalako obuveera, awo ne balyoka bayiwako the concrete such that teyitamu in the few spaces bazisigadde. Therefore also here that concrete can be used, the PVC, the polythene or the plastic, what we can call the plastic generally, it can be used. So all those leftovers, if they are dumped into water, that reduces water quality, what we call water pollution. If they are dumped onto land, still they can cause land pollution, reducing the quality of water or land depending on where bitadde. Therefore we are saying that you can solve that by collecting all those cut-offs. Nemutazisuula mazzi nemutabiteeka kuki ku ttaka. You can take them for recycling. Maybe if they are from wood, you can take them because wood is natural and for it can decompose. But if they are cut-offs maybe from aluminium, let's say left substances from the plastics that they have used, and they just dump them into water or dump them into land, we know the effects that can arise just from that. Next, we are saying that the cut-offs from those metals can also cause injuries to people, such as cuts during the construction process. So kibanga banazimba ku site, oli naasuula omusumaali n'ojja n'okola ki, n'ogulinnyako. So the same thing happens here, that as they are making their cuttings, they might deposit or throw away the small metals in that someone might not recognize, and at the end of it all you might step on them or still you might pass by them and they cause cuts, and that is very dangerous, most especially to the workers or even passers-by. So it can be so for the people who are working with the company, that can be solved by them wearing protective gears such as gloves and gumboots. Okay, so that is that with that number. Now let's see item 2. So item 2 is Baluku was making research in the computer laboratory, and Baluku was making research in the computer laboratory about the element whose atomic number is 13 and mass number is 27, and all of a sudden power went off before he completed research and has contacted you as a knowledgeable person on the periodic table. Task, they are saying, take Baluku through category of the element, part B, properties of the element, part C, use of the element, and lastly impact of the element on the environment. So this item is from the periodic table, and then it has been clear. Still, when we look at it, for it is very short, there is nothing much, but then we can see the key terms they are saying. the laboratory about the element. So it is an element in the periodic table whose atomic number is 13. So the atomic number 13. So ekyo kirina kutwalira ku periodic table oba in the first 20 elements that you know, which element has atomic number 13. You will know that the first 20 elements, the way we list them, that is the order of their atomic numbers. And then mass number is 27. Still, this one gives you furthermore, it gives you a clear picture, but just some people cannot recognize different elements by their mass numbers, but easily you can recognize them using their atomic number. Therefore, when we go to part A, it is saying we take Baruch through the category of the element, and with that the category we shall say it is a metal. Yes, we know 13, that element is aluminium, though my advice is not, you can mention the name since you already know its atomic number, but it is better to leave its name unknown. But even if you still talk about it, it is okay, because you already know its atomic number, which is 13. So the metal is aluminium, and therefore its category is a metal. And the reason, because it is a metal, it forms an ion by losing electrons. That is a characteristic by all metals. They all form ions by losing electrons. Or someone else might say it is a metal, and the reason you say because it is electropositive. All metals are electropositive. Typically group 1 and group 2. Then group 3, we have metals there, and they are somehow electropositive. So still that one can hold. A metal being electropositive, it is the same as saying forming ions by losing electrons. They are related. Or someone might say it is a group 3 metal because it forms an ion by losing 3 electrons. So that is a characteristic of group 3 metals. All of them form ions by losing their electrons in the outermost shell, and those electrons are 3. So you give one of the 3 answers I've given you. Let's go to part B. So part B, they're asking for the properties of the element and the use of the element. So here I've joined them, though if it is an examination, then you should give one. Part B is requesting for properties and part C is requesting for the uses. But for me, I've given the properties and then the use. The properties relating it to the use. So the element is aluminium. Now we are saying the element has a low density, which makes it one of the lightest metals available. So its density is around 2.7, but when you look at other metals, you will find out that for it is somehow very low, and that is why it is used. You normally know that we use it in the construction of airplane bodies. Ennyonyi eziyita mu bbanga eyo. So balina okukozesa ebyuma nga bikola ki, nga biwewuka. That's why aluminium would be better option. So used to construct in aerospace industries, that one is a use. And then having a low density is a property. I've joined them together, but you have to separate them as you are attempting. Next, the element is corrosion resistant. I've already talked about that the other side on item 1. And being corrosion resistant, it makes it a better choice for making outdoor structures like windows, doors, among others. Next, it is a good conductor of heat and electricity like any other metal. So actually, since it is a metal, you should just think about the properties of metals. Metals are ductile, metals are malleable, metals are sonorous, metals conduct heat, metals conduct electricity, and others properties of metals they shall qualify in here. So it conducts electricity and heat. So being a conductor of heat, that's why it is used to make some appliances at home, kitchen appliances. You find some saucepans. Because of that, it is conductor of electricity, and therefore it is used in making some electrical components, also some conductors, wires, they are made of aluminium. So lastly, it can easily be rolled into thin sheets or drawn into wires, making it useful in making packaging materials like foils, construction materials, among others. So there, we are talking about it being ductile and being malleable. I've said it is a metal, so you have to think about properties of metals. And with this, you have to give, on the part of properties, you have to give a minimum of 4. Don't think to give responses below 4, so it should be a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 5. Well explained. So let's see the last part of this, which is asking for the impact of the element on the environment. What are the side effects? And with this, I've said the element is toxic. So high concentrations of aluminium in the environment, they are very toxic. And we are saying we are saying that the element can be toxic to aquatic life, especially in acidic conditions where it becomes more soluble in water. Therefore, if aluminium is too much in water, it is increasing on the toxicity, and being toxic, it becomes dangerous to the aquatic life. With that, we are saying it disrupts the growth, reproduction, and respiration of the aquatic animals. So it is not good to deposit aluminium materials into water bodies. Still, high levels of the element can hinder root growth and nutrient uptake in plants, affecting soil health and productivity. Therefore, if you over deposit aluminium materials on land, remember they are resistant to corrosion, therefore they won't rust like iron, so that one can contribute to soil infertility. And here we are adding that still it can hinder root growth and nutrient uptake in plants, that is if plants have high concentration of it in their systems. And then the solutions we are giving are: 1, collecting and recycling the elements. So materials that are made of aluminium, we can collect them together and take them for recycling other than depositing them in water and on land. Next, applying lime to acidic soils to neutralize them, reducing the availability of the element to plants. So we are saying you apply lime. Lime is calcium carbonate, so if you apply it on land, it can reduce on the acidity of the soil. With that, it can also lower the availability of the aluminium ions to plants, and therefore plants won't access them to cause the other disruptions we have talked about. So that is it with this, but maybe to add on this side of the impacts, most especially it is better if they ask for the side effects, you talk about the side effects of the material itself other than the way it is obtained. For example, in here, if we are talking of aluminium and they ask for the impact of the element on the environment, it is better we talk about the element itself other than someone talking about its extraction process. Okay, if you are limited with the answers, then you can go that way, but the best answers would be talking about the element or the material itself. Industries, because we in section B we have items that are concerning manufacturing processes, and you'll find out that you will be having similar answers here and there, yet that is not the intention in the assessment. So that is it. Don't forget to subscribe on this channel, share the video to your friends who have not accessed it, and on top of that, if you have any inquiries, you can comment on this video. Thank you.